Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today to get through this thing called Mix CD. My name is Mike, part of the SPDM crew, and I love making Mix CDs. Each week, we give our guests a theme and an 80-minute time limit for which songs they're going to pick for their Mix CD. This week, we're going to be talking about songs from the 60s. And I think the reason why I picked it is because I did want to do a deep dive into what I think some of the best songs of and most influential songs from the 60s for my musical taste. You know, when you look back at how your musical taste became the way that they are, you look back at some of the songs and you start to go way back and think about just how far back your musical tastes go. And that's kind of the deep dive I went here because I was listening to one song that ended up on my list. And then I realized, how many more songs can I put on a list from songs from the 60s? Now, I had to establish some rules. And I think that's something that I'm going to start doing when I'm picking time frames or I'm picking, specific eras of music. And I for this the I did have three main rules for the 60s. One, no Beatles. Two, no Rolling Stones. Three, no Elvis. And I think the reason why I picked that is because I could do a list just of their music on their own. So I wanted to try to better represent, different songs that are like, oh, I didn't realize that, I enjoyed this song so much. And this will be probably the first volume of many that I will put out about this because my original draft of this was over 6 hours long. So here's my part one of the 1960s. And it starts with Aretha Franklin, Respect. This is a song that I've heard a zillion times. It's a song that remember one of the first times that I like truly recognized it was from the movie Major Pain of all places. But I also remember hearing Aretha Franklin on the Blues Brothers soundtrack and the blue and watching it her on the movies. So I wanted to put Aretha Franklin on there. Jackie Wilson's Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher. I remember this being the song that gives people in New York the goodness that they need in order to fight back against the goo in Ghostbusters 2. And I don't know, I can't think of a better song that can do that. I've got the Surfaris Wipeout. This is a song that comes up quite a bit in during sporting events. And then also, I just remember this being the start of the chase scene in the Sandlot between Hercules and Benny. The Isley Brothers Shout. That's a classic wedding song. I was in a fraternity, so Shout was played very often. And then if you've seen Animal House, this plays a pretty instrumental part in that. Next one, I have Wilson Pickett's Mustang Sally. I don't know. This is one that I hadn't really grown up with too much, but I think the reason why I picked this is because, when I heard it in an episode of Glee and I was like, man, I love that song. So I wanted to include that there. I've got Fontella Bass, Rescue Me. This is from Sister Act, and I think that's a major reason why I included that. Chubby Checkers, The Twist, just a classic. Sly and the Family Stone, Dance to the Music. Gene Chandler, Duke of Earl. Now, I think the main reason why I put Duke of Earl on here is because me and my sister, we used to watch this Pound Puppies like TV movie. It was called The Legend of Big Paw, and they sang a song from to the tune of Duke of Earl about Big Paw, and we both just love it. I've got the Turtles, Happy Together. This first time I actually heard this song was on a commercial. I can't remember what kind of a commercial it was, but that's the first time I heard it. I've got Otis Redding's Try a Little Tenderness, Dusty Springfield's I Only Want to Be With You. The first time I had ever heard this song, it was on an episode of Ally McBeal. It was a slowed down version of it, but I remember that just thinking that that song was great, so I wanted to include that on here. I've got The Locomotion by Little Ava. I've got The Monkees, I'm a Believer. The Monkees was another band that I was kind of toying with. I was like, do I really want to include the Monkees on here? And I just had to include them. And then there's the same thing with the Beach Boys as well. The Beach Boys is probably, out of all the artists that are on this list, the Beach Boys is probably my number one on here, maybe with the exception of like maybe one or two others towards the bottom. So I picked I Get Around because I think the first Beach Boys song that I had heard was Kokomo, but that was during the 80s. So I picked I Get Around because this was on the Good Morning Vietnam soundtrack. And that was one that I had listened to quite often because of my dad. And it's just, a great song. Same thing with James Brown's I Feel Good. This was on also on the Good Morning Vietnam soundtrack. I got the Supreme Stop in the Name of Love. I remember when I was in elementary school, someone sang this for a talent show, and it's always kind of stuck with me. Sam and Dave's Soul Man, I feel like this is just a classic. Steams, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. This is big with sports. I remember listening to this song on the Remember the Titans soundtrack. Same thing. There's another Remember the Titans song. It's Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Manfred Mann, Do What Diddy. This, I think, was on either the My Girl soundtrack or a different one. But yeah, just love this song. Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman, really good. Martha Reeves and the Vandells, Dancing in the Street. Love and Spoonful, Do You Believe in Magic? I think the first time that I really listened to this song was on the American Pie soundtrack. It's what Oz sings during choir practice at one time. Van Morrison's Brown Eyed Girl, The Temptations, My Girl, and I Can't Help Myself by the Four Tops. Those are all just stone cold classics. And then Benny King's Stand By Me rounds out my top 28. I got 28 songs because most of these songs are under 3 minutes. So, as for my album cover for the 1960s, it'll probably be like variations of a peace sign that will go into all of my 60s albums. And that's what I'm going to do here. But anyways, let me know, what did I miss? What are some of your favorite songs from the 60s? Let me know in the comments below. Well, my friends, the time has come to end this episode of Mix CD. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew, wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website soon to be out at spdmcrew.com. You can follow our playlist on Spotify and Apple Music at Mike Hilty. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at HiFlyerCreative.com. If you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, no matter what happens now, you shouldn't be afraid, because I know today has been the most perfect day I've ever seen.